a preview show here. This is Block Party. I'm Mike Wahle. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying, hit the subscribe button, like, rate, and review. Much thanks to Andy Herman at the Pack a Day Podcast for now planting me on their channel as well. We're talking Packers Cards. I think it's a 6.5-point spread. The Cards are coming in like 2-4. Listen, Kyler Murray's a good football player. He's kind of a scary guy when you put him on film because I think he is the America's best hope for winning the flag football tournament in the Olympics. Like, this guy is the most elusive quarterback, in my opinion, behind the line of scrimmage. Lamar Jackson, fair enough. But there's just something about this kid. Every time you watch him play, do I like his body language, this and that and the other? Nah, maybe not. But just as a threat to a defense, he really makes you nervous. Obviously, we've talked about it before. If you get maybe some push up front, what we talked about last week as far as what we're lacking, if we can improve on that, how well can a guy at that size actually see over his centers and tackles and guards? I don't know. But his ability to move in the pocket, his ability to break contain, his ability to throw on the run is elite. Marvin Harrison Jr., a guy that was struggling earlier in the year, got a concussion last week, missed the game. But before that, he had like a 2-game stretch of just you're going, oh, okay, I get it. This is why you were touted as maybe potentially the best player in your draft. Like, an incredible talent physically, has great hands, just started making a ton of plays against the Tennessee Titans in particular that we'll show on tape here. Because of injuries, we switched around some of the game stuff here. As far as what we're going to watch, we watched the Colts on defense. We watched the against the Titans on offense, just because they had all their personnel. I think they're going to be playing this week. I'm really excited to see how we have a pass rush plan against Kyler Murray. I'll show you why in this upcoming film. And defensively, when you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they run a lot of cover 3, cover 4. I think they run cover 3 or cover 4 like 56% of the time, 55% of the time. They run out of a base 3-4 that does give them some edge stuff with their overhang guys. But the bottom line is, as you watch this tape, we talk about the Green Bay Packers and their need to improve those double teams inside if they really want to get this run game going. I want you to watch the Cardinals defensive line. And when they're not stunting, when they're not actually stepping to someone, I don't think they do a great job of taking on those singles and double teams. And I think this is one of those games that we can really work that footwork, get married up hip to hip, and really get some movement back to those linebackers, because more often than not, those linebackers are stepping horizontally before they step vertically. So I think they'll have time. I just think this is one of those games, if you've got the communication going because of all the nickel pressures they will bring and all that different stuff, if you do have the communication going and you can, again, dictate kind of what they're going to run by the personnel you put into the game, and we like running out of 12, so there's a lot of positives there. I think that we can move these guys off the line of scrimmage on a consistent basis, something that we've really talked about. So check out the preview. We'll get back to a quick summary afterwards. Okay, on the Cardinals defense, you're going to see a couple different things here. You know, they play a 34 defense. They run a lot of cover 4. I think their coordinator's from Eagles camp, so they run a lot of cover 4. They run a lot of cover 3. They'll do some combo coverages. The thing that's going to stick out, I think, is, you know, obviously when they've got good players. Josh Sweat's on the end, Baron Browning's on the end. I'm talking about the edge players, but they'll kind of get themselves in and out of different good and bad positions, as sometimes you do with those overhang types in a 34 defense. The biggest thing here really is up front. They've got Calais Campbell. They've got the guy that was in Cleveland a couple years ago, and I'm forgetting his name right now. Disrespectful, I apologize. But they're good players. I just don't think they do a good job of coming off blocks when they're not stunting. We'll show a couple of these things, and you got to remember when I say that is, like, obviously the Colts offense in particular is really good. These guys are not, it's not like they're giving up 6 yards of carry or anything, but you see this. You got the great pursuit angle on the backside. This is something that the Green Bay Packers will run, so they're just going to pull 2 here. Bang and bang through. We just got to double back. And you really have, if you look at this just from a numbers standpoint, you've got great numbers here if you're the Colts, particularly when you give a little eye candy here with the jet motion across. They track down the backside. These guys play hard. They pursue to the football. Those box guys are committed for sure. You're going to see some opportunities for quarterback keeps. You're going to see some opportunities for the screen game as well. So they drop back into a 2 shell, and then they're going to just convert this to 3. But really, it's just about what they're doing up front. We'll go to the end zone copy here, but so big picture, these guys, when you're in that 34 defense, you start presenting different looks. And whether it's stand-up or not, there's a guy off the screen here. You really just have a 6-man box here, and you've got, I mean, potentially, you've got what was that, 8 blockers? And this could be just a 2-man route. But sometimes, especially with these 3 guys in here, and Quentin Nelson's one of the best, and I'm not just, I'm just talking about making general statements here. The problem too is you put a stand-up like athlete and just, you get this guy to go out, you get this guy to go away, and you leave this guy boxed in. Sometimes it's just problematic. They do a good job here just making a guy miss and getting home. I think Browning ends up getting the sack, but really it's caused that's their first round pick from a couple of years ago, I believe. Isn't that 25? Yep. I think Collins, I believe. Little bunch look on the bottom here. Go motion across. And this is what, we'll kind of see this just from a down block standpoint, but this is what I'm talking about is I just don't think they get off blocks very well when they're static. And we're just going to see a real simple play, something that, the Packers are more than capable of running. Actually, I'd love to see Aaron Banks get into a little bit of space. So they just down block here. They pull around, bang and lead through. And you just have really, really good angles. And always the key to these blocks is basically, can you get this guy to not widen? If you can get that guy to not widen, so because, this running back has to go all the way across and then hit the alley. And if this guy gets any kind of penetration, if we got to do any kind of bounce or extension, then that's when the rest of the team can rally and get to the football. But you see here, they come back in, they get a great double on the edge. Somehow the center gets up. I think that's might be Mac Wilson playing middle linebacker. I don't know how he gets up. Mac balances back here with that motion and just holds on to this for some reason. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor. Watching some of these teams, man, it's like, well, you think you're watching a damn game and fast forward. Got a 1st and 10 play here. Just a 2x2. And they're really just running quarters up top. They're running 2 underneath. And the linebacker's just doing, straight coaching here. You just run anytime you got that fast. Anytime you got that fast 3, right? They're always taught to run straight across. They don't chase. So you run straight across there, and he runs through this lane and ends up making the play. You got this cloud player on the bottom that is allowing, which allows to have eyes on the flat. Ends up making the hit, ends up making the play. Another 1st and 10 play. Like I was saying, they mix up their coverages enough where it gives you something to think about. Under center play action. Guy almost gets home. So we got an old school Twins look with like a far eye look with the fullback in the backfield. And we're just going to run this really cool route. Here. Oh, we're going to go motion. Wow, that's ugly. Let's try that again. Here, motion across. Trying to hit that fullback. And they got just a little ghost look. It's almost a throwaway player. Can throw a check down. End up throwing the check down to the tight end on the backside. Really, let's just go back. I did put the end zone copy on here, which pisses me off because I just wanted to show you. This is like, this dude just does it the right way. He's been doing it the right way since he was like the 5th or 6th pick in the draft. This is how you deal with, if you're an uncovered lineman, this is how you deal with life. Little punch, loop, you just knock the absolute dog shit out of that guy. Make him think about taking your center one-on-one. Got a double wing look. They motion over to trips. 12 personnel. Get your balanced look. Why I'm showing this play, watch the line of scrimmage change with these guys. They do not do a good job. When they're not stunting, they get moved off the football. That's a 5 or 6 yard run, and the linebacker doesn't touch him till 5 or 6 yards. We are talking about a really good offensive line that has power. Watch 60. Sometimes we're talking about technique and how to do all this stuff. Watch him engage, and we're going to the backside backer here. So these guys are going all the way back here, and it's a middle zone. You have time. You see, we're trying to get that space covered up. These guys are not shooting, but look at the tight windows at the tackle and guard level, and then the guard and center level. That's what makes successful plays. You see how much Quentin Nelson ends up blocking that guy 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. That wins football games. We got a 1st and 10 here. They go motion out to go to empty. I thought this was just a cool play. Maybe we want to put it in our bag if we don't have it already. This is a Tucker Craft special. So they're counting. These guys end up running, I think, 2-man. And we'll watch Mack Wilson, the middle linebacker. So we got man coverage. We got man here. And we should have here on the tight end. The tight end shows that he's blocking. And all they end up doing here, it's really just a smart play. They clear out. They get him wide. And then they release him down the numbers right here. And Mack Wilson's responsible for understanding what's going on. And because that guy blocks for a 1,000 before he leaves, wide open. Wide open. It's a fun play. Another 1st and 10. They love going 12 personnel in this game. They're obviously a run-first team with Jonathan Taylor. These different looks that you see when you're good at running the football. I mean, watch the top of the screen here with this fella. So initially, you've got your 34 look, and that's your edge player. And then he just turns and tries to find the crosser, which is, I'm sure, what he's been told to do. You can see his eyes like he's doing the right thing. But I guess they forgot that Daniel Jones is the guy that, I don't know if everybody remembers that Giants game years ago. He ran like 86 yards and then fell down on like the 14 or something like that. He like ran out of gas. But he can cook a little bit now. He's going to outrun a D tackle. Always interesting when you see that 55 is lined up inside of the tackle and they expect him to go chase down the quarterback on the keeper. It's probably unsound. All right, we got motion across, another 12 personnel look. They got 2 tight ends blocking the edge. Daniel Jones, just good throw, takes it in the face here. Now, they drop this into a cover 3. Get the fast look out again, what we talked about last time. Out, really, you got your whole player here. He's looking down at this crosser who's being chased, and they're just going to run a little digging route, a little dig route at the top. Kind of surprised Buddha doesn't get his hands on this, but good throw. A lot of explosive plays in these games. They have good pass rushers, not great pass rushers. Josh Sweat is a good pass rusher. He was better with the Eagles because the Eagles could just push the pocket. You see Calais Campbell here. He's still playing. He's like 40, he's 58 years old or something like that. But look how well this guy's playing. Ends up running like a TT and gets off. Still an effective player. I'm just telling you firsthand experience, man. Some of the longest arms in the game. Like he can tickle your nose from across the hallway. These guys will pursue the ball. This is just another example of you get yourself in an interesting position every time. So you look at the way they start this, and they're in 11 personnel, it looks like, and we've just got the tight end hipped off. And as soon as we start going motion here, really they've got 3 guys out here. And once they start going to motion, this is your overhang player. He just starts coming down, coming down, coming down. And now when you're going to try to run this direction, like it's really hard to not get the edge set when that guy's already outside that much. See this play out in real time here. They end up getting like a face mask or something. This ends up turning to being a penalty, but you just see they do a nice job. This is one of the plays where you can see very specifically the outside tackles moving as well. This player is moving out. I don't know if he's reading Quentin Nelson's pull, but he moves out and just what we talked about, flattens this offensive play and makes them stretch it. And if they're doing that, whether they're reading our guards or they're doing it on a stunt, they're pretty effective. But if they're playing things straight up, man, they give up a lot of space between the line of scrimmage and where those guys stop moving their feet. Another one of those examples right here where we can just watch left guard and left tackle. Center gets up. I think the center plays really well, by the way. Just always engaging, and then does a good job of getting to the second level with the acceleration. And if we're just talking about, what do you want to see from the Packers line? If I can just slow it down at this first stop here. Right here, look how tight these spaces are. This is what you want. You got leverage here, but you got a tight space. They're going up to this player. You got great insert points. You got full command of this player. And now you got that, we call this like a bumper and horsepower. So you're just trying to set this lane. You got this guy coming through. Great job on the backside. They got two outside here dealing with. They got a lead blocker. I mean, it's all drawn up this way, right? And the difference is whether or not you get this kind of, the difference is whether or not you get this kind of execution, particularly at this block right here. Can we get that kind of execution? If the answer is yes, you got to feel really good about your chances of running the football against these guys. They're giving up like 4-6 or something like that a carry. Buda's still doing it. When you talk about the Cardinals offense, you're talking about Kyler Murray. They've got Trey McBride split out here. Great tight end. Trey McBride, Tucker Kraft, very, very similar players. And they're just going to run a little Texas route here. They're in 13 personnel. But saying a little bit more about Murray, he didn't play last week. Jacoby Brissett actually did a really nice job. But, the dimension that Kyler Murray brings, in my opinion, I think I said this before in the preview, is that I don't know that there's a more elusive player behind the line of scrimmage. And the way that he can extend plays, obviously he can rush, but what he really does is just extend plays, put himself in a position, his teammates in a position to make that second move, to go fight to get open. And I don't know if there's a better player in the league doing that. He doesn't do everything well, like I've said before. I think if you try to get pressure up the middle, we talked about it on the Andy Herman show last week. If we get pressure up the middle, does he see over the pocket that way? I mean, is it physically possible for him to see over the pocket like that? I don't know. But this is one of those offenses just in general. And we're showing the Tennessee Titans because Marvin Harrison Jr. is healthy and he's kind of turned the corner. He had a hell of a game before he got hurt. Kyler Murray's healthy in this game, so they've got kind of their four weapons that I think we'll see this weekend. But sometimes you're watching these guys, and it feels like the running backs, Murray, they just feels like they're running in like, I don't know, you're like at 1.3 speed on your screen here. So McBride with a little pump Texas gets in. They do a really nice job. They don't have a powerful offensive line, but what they're going to do is they'll load you up with tight ends. They get you in the personnel that they want. And you just kind of see it here. Like they're not really movers of humans. And what they'll try to do a lot is they'll pull the tight ends. They'll maybe pull the backside guard, and they'll try to get into some positions where they can just do a little bit of the outside gap scheme stuff. And, quite frankly, they got some great running backs, or they just have speed at the running back position. So they can get a lot of that done. Now you see here, 87's in there to block more often than not. We're going to see a lot of him. And just having to match up with Parsons, having to match up with Rashawn Gary, kind of butt fumbles it back here. So they're not the most powerful team you're going to see on the up front. I think they do a decent job, particularly in pass pro. But when you think about these guys, you're really thinking about, all right, how do you get to Kyler Murray? What's the pass rush plan? I mean, you look at this play here, and he ends up, I think, working out for the first down here on a 3rd and 4. But you just watch this from the end zone copy, and it's like, there's just no way he's getting out of this mess. just rushing 4. Pocket collapses a little bit faster. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is next level, right? He's arguably the only guy in the Titans defense who's worth anything. But I mean, look at Jeffrey Simmons, man. He's good. I mean, how do you? That's the easiest sack Jeffrey Simmons ever had, right there. Unbelievable. Look at that. And then it turns into like, it looks like Roadrunner with his damn feet moving. We got a 1st and 10 play. Apologies about this screen. We got a little bit of a issue here today, but look at the double, not really even a double move, but Marvin Harrison just is on the same page. Jump up, you see the athleticism finally. He's obviously had the down year in the beginning of the year. This year they were talking about, I remember, I think it was Herbstreit was on his ass on like a Thursday night game. Felt terrible for him, but guy's got just an absolute ton of talent. Throw back shoulder here for him. I mean, you just see the physical difference between him and the opponent. I mean, we were talking about a guy who's just, we played against a guy like this last week where maybe not from a physical standpoint, but there's a difference in athleticism between him and everybody else. So if he gets kind of his head right and he's back to normal, I think he had a concussion during the game this week or the week following, but if he gets back from concussion protocol and he's playing the way he was playing this game and the game before, man, we got just something to think about. They really have a weapon there. He's a different kind of player, a different kind of problem. 1st and 10 play. They use that Falcons pistol near 2 tight end, 3 tight end look. Maybe that's 22 personnel. And you're not moving a lot of humans. We'll see it across the board. There's not a lot of guys getting moved here, but they've got speed at the running back position. They use these. Look, with all of these kind of players, and they do a little job here of faking out with 87 and coming back inside for the safety. They just kick and get a fair pull. But you just see it. You're not getting a great double team here. They're not. No, everyone's gonna be a free runner. It's just this guy. If you give him a little space, then he's faster than everybody else. It feels like that's how the Cardinals have been a little bit for the last couple of years. You see this fullback just take one right on the chin here from 43. I didn't see that earlier. Look at that. But boys are fast now. Well, fast motion move over to trips. We got under center. They'll do a lot of gun. They do the under center. A lot of the under center stuff is keepers, is under center play action. Good job of Harrison Jr. just sitting down in the zone. They run the vertical. This is called they often call this route here. This is the love of the game route. You run it for the love of the game so your buddy can come underneath and get one. But even here, you just look from the pocket. Murray does like a half roll, and then that edge player actually does well. Look at that. Look at this. I just love picking this stuff up. If like Murray got clobbered right here, and they showed this on tape, come on, man. Unbelievable. 3rd and 3 look here. Go back over to that bunch again, out of gun. And this is the real scary thing about Kyler Murray. There's no chance you're catching him. I'll show this from the end zone. And you'll see the left defensive end or the left edge player. That's Arden Key over there, 49 for the Titans. He just sees a wide-ass open B gap off of 73 here. And just says, I'll take it. Thank you for taking it. And 9 nights. And like, I'll bet money that's 7. I'll bet money that's 7 right here. This fella, I'll bet you anything you want that he's faster than me. But he don't look it right here. That's tough. A 2x2 shotgun look. Harrison again. and I show the field here. Just watch the route. I mean, look how quick he closes space on this guy. I don't think the guy realizes what's happening until right about now. And then all he has to do is just give a little. I mean, when you're that big, just a little bit of body presence. And this guy's done for. He gets back, pushes him down, gets 5 yards of separation, falls forward for another 3. Real weapon. All right, we got a 3rd and 3 look here. Trey McBride, just strong hands. I mean, Tucker Kraft, Trey McBride, they're very, very similar players. You see on the bottom here, he fights through the contact of the flat player. And then he's just proven already in his young career that he's a guy that you trust to make the catch against that deep safety. That's a big time play. These guys have weapons. Now, I had to put this play in because I'm an asshole. I don't know if the team recovers from this play. This play leading obviously to the loss to the Tennessee Titans. And then I know they fought hard, but the reality is this is a 2-4 football team. And no matter who's at the helm, no matter what's going on, it feels like they can always beat you, but it also feels like a 6.5 point spread is very, very justified. All right, so as you can see, these guys they're averaging 21 points a game. They're giving up 21 points a game. They average 4.6 yards per carry. They give up about 4.5 yards a carry. Like they're a very middle of the road team. 14th, 20th. They give up 348 yards a game, 24th. But this is a 6.5 point spread. I think going on the road matters. I do think that with them healthy, this is a much, much more interesting game for our defense. Not that we won't have incredible success, but that how do you contain a guy that moves like Kyler Murray, that has an arm like Kyler Murray, that has vision like Kyler Murray? Like it is something that NFL defenses have been trying to figure out for years for this reason or that, whether it's, we got to remember with a guy like Kyler Murray, like how many coaches has he gone through? How many coordinators has he gone through? All these changes, right? At the base level, this guy's he won a state championship in baseball and football. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. Like this guy knows how to get it done. And the question really is, how do we contain him? Because I think once you do, you see this on the tape, like their offensive line doesn't move people off the ball very well. They do have speed in the backfield, but it's all predicated. Everything is predicated on what are those off-schedule plays and when are they going to show up with Kyler Murray, and how do we prevent that from happening, whether it's spying with Adrian Cooper, spying with Quay Walker, whether just running a couple different defenses, dropping 8, try to make him look kind of slow burn back there and try to find a passing lane. Like there's a bunch of different ways to attack this. I'm interested to see what happens. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying. Again, hit the subscribe buttons, leave some comments. Thanks to Andy and the Pack-A-Day Podcast for putting me on. See you next week.